What
All
is
right, go.
going on? I want to welcome you from Half Court for today, Sunday, July 31st, the final day of July. We're here with my guy, Jeff. I afraid Jeff. Happy NFL training camp week. Happy
Yeah,
August. Happy everything, my guy. It's good to see you, my friend.
it's good to see you too, man. It's the calm before the storm for all, really. You have the Lions coming up, you have the Pistons, the Red Wings, and then we could talk about the Tigers another time. But yeah, as a Pistons fan, we're going to be covering everything, and
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's all this awesome stuff,
awesome
and there's
stuff.
the Tigers. But with that,
Tigers.
I mean, hey, there's a lot of star power in Detroit outside of the Detroit
Absolutely.
Tigers, and perhaps leading the charge in that front is Cade Cunningham. And we had a conversation earlier this last week about what it would take for Cade Cunningham to be an all-star in year two, and if that's something that we expect to happen out of year two. And with that, I think this is a good time to have that conversation of what that would take and what our expectations are of Cade in year two. Now, personally, I think that we could be very much in the beginning stages, or potentially we could be seeing Cade take that type of year two leap that we saw from John Morant or from Luka Doncic. And I think he could be one of the best young players that we have in this league. Do you think that that's unrealistic to expect, or where is your head at, Jeff?
No, absolutely. Especially what he's shown down the stretch of the season. I know he started off, especially early on the season, which pretty much costed him that being in serious contention for that Rookie of the Year race. Is just him kind of struggling efficiency wise. But as the season picked up, the month of March, doing what he did in the month of March, closing the season, he put up all-star numbers, especially through the month of March. It's really about a couple things, and I know Ashton's been talking about it as well. Like he's in the gym working, not only on his game but getting stronger. I think this year, given that he didn't get very many calls his rookie year, and we were watching the Pistons games, man, we've seen it. I think he can dramatically improve just because he went from 18, 19 points this year on low efficiency numbers, barely getting to the free throw line. Now, if you improve his efficiency numbers and he gets to the free throw line, that's easily 22, 23 points a game right there. So yes, I agree with you. I think he can make a significant year two jump, and he's playing with adding more talent around him, which is going to benefit him even more because last year, with all the injuries they faced, every single night it was all right. We got to stop Cade Cunningham. Now, there's going to be a lot of that this year, but at least you have more talent around him so to where teams are going to have to pay the price if they choose to double team him. So I think his game also, he's such a complete player, Sean, also that, the more talent you surround him with, in his playmaking ability is he's a good rebounder. He's a good defender. So I think he has such a complete game, even opposed, I think, better than John Morant and Luka Doncic. I think he's a more versatile player than both those guys. And he's got the work ethic. So absolutely, I think he can make a significant jump to year two.
Yeah, and when we look at the players around the league that have made those significant jumps, I mean, I already said, Luka Doncic, John Morant. We saw last year the young guys that took that leap and made the All-Star game. DeJounte Murray and LaMelo Ball. Obviously, they made it off of replacement via injury, but nonetheless, they were still All
That can
Stars. And
happen.
yeah, yeah. And looking at LaMelo, he kind of was around that 20.7 rebounds, 6 assists type benchmark, which I think is doable for Cade. But I think in addition, one thing that I think you're going to see out of him in comparison to these other guys, I think for one, just the mental, the place that he's at mentally, as far as being able to analyze the game, playing it like a chessboard, and watching it slow down for him in real time, and the way that he can attack and approach the game. I think he's going to be able to do that at a different level than the LaMelo Ball and DeJounte Murray in year two. But I think in addition, I think you're just going to see, we talked about him bulking up and that physicality and how much it's going to help him as far as, finishing through contact. And I don't know if like year one with like a lot of it was, I don't know, a lot of like, we talk about him getting to the free throw line and getting fouls. I don't know if a lot of that's like, oh, well, he's just a rookie, so he's not getting those calls. I think some of that is learning what it takes to get calls in the NBA level. And so I think with Cade, after being in year one, going back, being able to watch film, looking at where these calls do take place, a lot of times it's figuring out how to create contact, how to make things look more like fouls. So I just imagine that Cade and Ashton and his entire camp go back and watch a lot of film from last year and are learning from a lot of those things. And that's the scary thing because we saw Cade significantly improve over a short period of time. And from the beginning of the year to the end of the year, look like almost an entirely different player. Imagine what he's going to be able to do with an entire off season to get better and to grow his game. I mean, we've already seen his physicality change. Just
Mhm.
imagine what's going to change when he's on the court.
And you've seen that as well through the season. Him playing, top 10 teams. Like he seemed to step up, and I think that's the biggest thing you can look at. You mentioned it as well. Like he got better during the season. Give him an off season. Like I think there's a lot more that we have not yet to see of Cade Cunningham, and I feel like he's more cerebral than DeJounte or LaMelo Ball. So I think there's a part of that as well. And another thing, I've been saying this, and a lot of people have been saying this, the biggest jump you can make as a player is from your rookie season to your second season because you finish your rookie year. A lot of it is just figuring out the NBA, figuring out your game, just getting used to being on an NBA court with your teammates. By the way, he was drafted number 1 overall. He had to figure out how to play with his teammates. Now you're going into your second season. The chemistry's there. You're more comfortable. Everybody knows who the guy is, and it's just an easier transition process. So this year he's going to be more comfortable. He's going to come out hopefully with no injuries to start the season. So you're going to see a 100% Cade Cunningham to begin the year.
Yeah,
And
imagine if he can actually go through training camp healthy, how much that
right,
would help.
right, just extra reps. And that's what he can use. So yeah, absolutely. And I think coming out this year, his unselfishness, his leadership, that which he is a leader, lead by example, and he's open and talkative, more of a quiet guy, but certainly can lead. I just think he brings so many things to the table that this year to say he could be an all-star, I don't think it's crazy. I mean, if you brought up LaMelo and DeJounte Murray, DeJounte won 34 games with the Spurs, and he
Yeah.
was still a replacement player, but that can still happen with Cade Cunningham. So if he's putting up, which I think he will, we've made videos about this. Go check it out on From Half Court. We did a second year Cade Cunningham predictions in terms of his stat line. I think he could be 22, 6, and 6, something like that. And that's about what LaMelo Ball did. He had 43 wins. He was a replacement for Kevin Durant. And then you have DeJounte Murray, who put up 27 and 6, something like that. Now he's a great defender, but still 34 games, he made the All-Star team. So I wouldn't say there's no way he can't make the All-Star team. He certainly can. It's just about, how much of a role does he have this year? Because I've said this as well. These guys have to learn the pecking order. I know Cade's still going to be the number 1 guy, but you don't know what Jaden's going to look like his rookie year. You don't know what Sadiq's going to look like from year 2 to year 3. So there's a lot of things I have to kind of look and figure out as I watch the Pistons. But there's no doubt in my mind, whatever happens, Cade's going to get his 22 per game. Like he's that dude, man. And you saw it turn towards the end of last season. So I'm excited.
Yeah, if there's anything that feels certain about year 2 for Cade Cunningham this upcoming season for the Pistons, I feel like it is the fact that Cade's going to be better. It's like Cade,
Absolutely.
and it's like across the board. It's like he's going to be a better shooter. He's going to be a better rebounder. He's going to be a better passer. Like he's going to be a better defender. Like I just feel like every aspect of his game he's going to be able to take and learn from and adjust from. And so and with that I don't think that like as far as like where we're looking at our record to be and how this team's going to be this next year, I think it's incomplete because I think the ultimate X factor. I mean, we talk about the X factors of guys like Sadiq Bey, guys like Killian Hayes, guys like Jaden Ivey, like like the amount of talent, like what they're going to bring to the court and like how they're going to change the dynamic of the Pistons. But at the same time, it ultimately rests on what Cade Cunningham's going to be able to do, and this team is going to go as far as Cade Cunningham's going to take us. And I think like, and again, like we talk about it, you look at guys, and the reason why we do make these comparisons, because I really do think he's going to be on this level of caliber and type of player. You look at what Dallas and Memphis had and Luka Doncic and John Morant, where, again, like people are like, oh, well, these guys will be nice like 4 or 5 years down the line. It's like, nope, mother, they're ready now.
The rookie year.
Yeah. Yeah, but after their rookie years, it's like, oh, these guys will be like some of the best in the league a few years from now. And then literally they were among the top of their position in their second season.
Right.
Like I don't think it's completely unforeseen that we could be looking at Cade as a star after year 2. And I even mean like above all-star, like a star. So, it's a type of season that I think really could put the Pistons on the map.
Oh, I agree with you. And I think if the Pistons could get somewhere between 35 and 40 wins and Cade puts up those type of numbers, I don't see why he can't at least be able to be a replacement player if he doesn't make the All-Star team initially. Like, no doubt about it. You see DeJounte, you see LaMelo Ball make it. Certainly Cade and how dynamic he is as well. Just playing with better teammates. Like, that's something he didn't have at Oklahoma State. He was the guy at Oklahoma State, came to the Pistons, didn't have very much talent around him. Well, he had talent, but young talent, guys that weren't really hitting their strides yet. Now, if you're getting guys that are taking the next step with Cade, he's going to get even better. So I think it's a big season for him. But yeah, if they can fall in that 35 to 40 win range and he's putting up those numbers, Sean, I mean, that's an all-star. Whether he makes it or he's there for a replacement player. Now, if no one gets injured, I don't think the East is tough in the West. A lot of superstars, man. So a lot of guys are going to make the All-Star team, but certainly you can't deny the man. He's going to be
Yeah.
impressive.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing is I don't think people are going to be able to deny the man even if they want to. And
Yeah.
I think you look at the top of that draft order that he came in with, and I think of all those players, I think we saw that Cade was the most polished of that draft class. But I think also I think of them all, I think he's the most poised, and I think he's the one that I think we truly just saw merely because like he's the one that came out and by the end of the year, set and broke records that Michael Jordan did in his rookie year.
Right.
And even with that, it felt like watching his game of all of the rookies, it felt like he was the one that I was like, oh, we're just getting started. Like
Mm-hmm.
like the ceiling of a guy like Evan Mobley, don't get me wrong, like is insanely high. And like Jalen Green could be a special scorer. And Scotty Barnes is a star in the making. Like, don't get me wrong, but like it just felt like what Cade was doing in the way that like, he was already doing star caliber things. It was already taking on that heavy type of workload. It's just the things that Cade is doing now just really make him poised to
Mm-hmm.
truly, in my opinion, again, maybe this is a different conversation for another day of like what is Cade's true ceiling, but like I don't think it's completely unforeseen in a few years that we're going to be saying Cade's a top 10 player in the
Yeah.
NBA.
And think about
And
that too. Think about that too. From the guys he came out with to let's say he is the first player out of that draft class to make the All Star team, and you see how dynamic he is, putting himself in the record books with Michael Jordan as a rookie. I mean, you can't say, and Ashton's talked about this too. The whole being third in the Rookie of the Year race, everybody's sleeping on Cade Cunningham, except for Pistons fans. He's in the gym and he's thinking about that. So I feel like it's a great motivation thing for him as well. The only guy out of that draft class I think would be a competition to make an All-Star team as well would be Mobley. I mean, that's really my pick that I would be worried about if the Cavs are a good team and Mobley's putting up 20 per game and what he does defensively. That's probably the only competition. But yeah, I
right.
think Cade is that guy. He
I
really
think
is.
and I think the one thing that could potentially separate that right now, I mean, like you bring up like everything that Evan Mobley can do on the defensive end, and he truly is a threat. And I'm actually going to go back and watch a whole lot more of Evan Mobley and a lot of these guys just because a lot of this last season was watching Cade. But I
Right.
mean, I think the one area where with Evan Mobley that might hold him back in that sense is, what's his offensive game going to be in year 2 compared to year 1? And I think that's where, like I just think the one thing about Cade's game in comparison to the other people in his class is that I think a lot of people in their class are still figuring out their games and are still growing in their body in relation to that. Whereas I think Cade comes in and I think he's so polished already, and I think a lot of it, like he has a complete game. I think a lot of it's just getting his body alongside him and
It's tinkering.
just getting more reps and
Yeah,
more time. Like that, like to
that's it.
me that whereas with like Mobley, it's like, all right, how can he expand his offensive game? Or Jalen Green or with other guys in his class, it's like, all right, how can he expand his game? But like Cade has the tools and everything he needs to
Hmm.
be a star. It's just putting
Yeah.
it together, and it's just time.
Yeah,
It's
that's
just
where the word cerebral comes in, man. He's yeah, I think the word polished is a perfect way to put it. Like he has the most complete game. I mean, even compared to guys like Jalen Green, like Cade can be a scorer. He could be your facilitator. He could be one of your best defenders. He's a great rebounder. Like, there's not really any weaknesses. He can knock down free throws. Like, the only thing you could say was a weakness last year was just his inefficiency. And that was because of his struggling to stay healthy early on in the season. He had to kind of get his legs under him. Besides that, like, what really is his weakness? I mean, I guess you can improve your ball handling. Your strength is another one. Physical,
Right.
like we talked about those physical tools he has to improve on. But in terms of his game, I
Yeah.
can't
I
really
mean,
think
like,
of one.
the only thing is, like, staying out of foul trouble, and, like,
But
even then it's like,
yeah,
"Oh,
young player,
you care too much. Like, how
right?
dare
I
you?"
mean, you can
Yeah.
solve those things.
Yeah, exactly. It's a pretty good problem to have his rookie year.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah, so and I know a lot of people, like to talk redrafts and all this kind of stuff, but all I'm saying is look out for Cade Cunningham in year 2. And I think that's so it's like as we keep getting closer and closer, and as I go back and watch footage of him in year 1, it's like, man, I
Special
just what a summer of work is gonna be able to do for him. It's gonna be it's gonna be exciting without a
scary
doubt.
hours,
Yeah.
scary hour.
Yeah. Scary hours is the perfect way to put in with that. What do you think? Let us know in the comment section down below. What time is it on your clock at home? Because I know it's gonna be scary hours. With that, you better be following my guy Jeff on Twitter at Jeff5Frady, myself at Sean Halfcourt. But also, you better be sure that you're subscribing to the From Half Court channel if you like this content and want more of it throughout the week, because Jeff and I don't shut the up when it comes to basketball. But in addition, be sure you're subscribing to Woodward Sports for the best content about Detroit sports and just sports in general. Amazing shows with amazing personalities and hosts. And with that, we want to thank you so much for tuning in. We will catch you guys next time from Half Court. Be sure to subscribe.